So astrocartography has been such a big passion of mine since 2022 because I had an astrology reading in end of 2021 and I assumed what the astrologer was saying kind of really resonated, especially with you aren't really meant to live where you're living. So she introduced me to astrocartography. She did not specialize in it though. She just said, go to astro.com, play around, see where it fits. And I was really going through this deep spiritual awakening and I kind of was looking up like, where do people go for that? And, the internet was like, oh, Bali's a great resource. So I looked, pulled up my maps like a complete newbie beginner, and I saw, okay, Bali is on my moon descendant line. I looked at my chart and I assumed because I know how to read my chart, I was steps above people who only read planetary lines. And I saw, okay, great. My moon is only making positive aspects in my chart. So after that, I made the commitment that I was going to live there for 6 months on a visa that was given for a special occasion during the pandemic. And I had the most miserable time. I had the worst time ever. It was nothing like I was expecting from being on a moon descendant line. And that drove me to look for more resources and really understand. And that's when I found my astrocartography teacher, Helena Woods, online and began learning with her. And it blew my mind because there's so much more to astrocartography than just looking at the planetary lines. What I learned is I was living on this latitude line that is one of the hardest ones to live on. I was living on a Mars Chiron Paran line, which is a latitude line. Yes. If you know Mars and Chiron energy together, you know that is an ouch. And that's where I was living. And unfortunately, no matter where I went in Bali, I was always within orb of that latitude line. I could not escape it. And I had so many Mars Chiron themes come up.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Heather, and today I'm so excited because we have a returning guest. So Yvonne Irene Ulloa is an astrocartographer and business astrologer who blends deep astrological wisdom with a grounded, practical approach. If you listen to our first conversation, you already know how insightful and expansive Yvonne's perspective is, and I'm thrilled to have her back for round 2. So today's episode, we're going to go even deeper into ancestral healing through astrocartography, which is a hot topic right now, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about how place and lineage intersect and how to work with your map as a tool for self-discovery, belonging, and healing. I'm also excited to share that Yvonne is leading an upcoming workshop inside of my highest tier membership inside Substack, the Cosmic Awakening Circle. The workshop is called Mapping Your Roots, Exploring Ancestral Healing Through Astrocartography. So in this workshop, Yvonne will guide us through how to locate ancestral regions on your astrocartography map, understand the planetary lines connected to those places, and reflect on what they might reveal about inherited gifts, patterns, and healing. So if you are already in the Cosmic Awakening Circle, look out for a Google Calendar invite and be sure to join us. You will also get access to the recording in addition to our ever-growing resource library of amazing guest expert-led workshops. If you are not in the membership, you can still attend, and we'll talk more about that in our conversation. So just keep an eye out for the links and the details so that you can pull your astrocartography map ahead of time. So before we dive into today's conversation, I have a favor to ask. If you are enjoying the content that we are creating here on the Cycle Starters podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It really helps the algorithm get our episodes in front of more viewers. Also, if you'd like to join my community, go to the Cycle Architect on Substack. That is where the Cosmic Awakening Circle lives. That is where my weekly-ish newsletter is. You can join for free. I have a paid tier, and then the Cosmic Awakening Circle is the highest paid tier. So that, again, is the Cycle Architect on Substack. So please follow me there. And without further ado, let's welcome Yvonne to the show. Hi, sis.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here and just talk more about astrology with you. It's always so fun to speak with another astrologer and connect.
Yes, it's so fun to speak astrology with other people. Well, so you were on the show. I mean, I feel like it was almost a year ago.
Yeah, it feels like that for sure.
Yeah, so catch us up. What has been going on? What have you been doing since we last connected?
So, since we last connected, I know we spoke about how we both met through Layla Martin's Vita Coaching certification. We were both in different cohorts, and that's how we connected in the alumni group. I went through a period where I was really attached to the story of my previous life, being a marriage and family therapist. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful full circle moment to go back and say, I'm also doing Vita coaching and, kind of going back to the roots of where I started. And I completed the program, went through all the materials, and then had that realization of this work. I think it's amazing. I think it's beautiful, but it's just not lighting my soul on fire. It's not the clients that I'm most excited to work with. And I went back down to just reviewing, what do my clients come to me for? And what do I love talking about with my clients? And two topics came up for me. And the first is astrocartography. And the second is using astrology for business. I have so many people who come to me because they're, feeling confused around their purpose. They want to make a business, but they're tired of receiving, those cookie cutter, follow my method and it will give you success. And we go in with their birth charts and we create something that is so aligned for them, activates their gifts, and allows them to really create something that is truly their own and built on their success and money blueprint.
Beautiful. Well, so if you missed our last conversation on the first episode that Yvonne was on, I want to give Yvonne an opportunity now to give us a little refresher on your blood lineage. So tell me a little bit about your ancestors, just as a review.
Yeah. Absolutely. So my family, they both immigrated from different countries in Latin America. My mother is from Mexico and my father is from a country in Central America called Honduras. They were one of the first in their families to make the journey into the US. And I've heard so much from both of them about what their experience was like crossing over. And it just blows my mind and it gives me so much appreciation for them because I've had the opportunity to go visit their home countries and just hearing their emphasis on, we wanted to come to the United States to give you opportunities that you wouldn't have here. And then getting to witness and see how people are living, it makes me so grateful for them being brave and making that decision, leaving their home and starting over completely from scratch.
Okay. Well, so as I mentioned in the introduction, you're going to teach a workshop inside the Cosmic Awakening Circle on
Yeah.
astrocartography for ancestral healing. And so I wanted to give you an opportunity now to talk about the inspiration behind this workshop that you've created and give people a taste of what they can expect to experience and also get out of it.
Absolutely. So astrocartography has been such a big passion of mine since 2022 because I had an astrology reading in end of 2021 and I assumed what the astrologer was saying kind of really resonated, especially with, you aren't really meant to live where you're living. So she introduced me to astrocartography. She did not specialize in it though. She just said, go to astro.com, play around, see where it fits. And I was really going through this deep spiritual awakening and I kind of was looking up, where do people go for that? And, the internet was like, oh, Bali's a great resource. So I looked, pulled up my maps like a complete newbie beginner, and I saw, okay, Bali is on my moon descendant line. I looked at my chart and I assumed because I know how to read my chart, I was steps above people who only read planetary lines. And I saw, okay, great. My moon is only making positive aspects in my chart. So after that, I made the commitment that I was going to live there for 6 months on a visa that was given for like a special occasion during the pandemic. And I had the most miserable time. I had the worst time ever. It was nothing like I was expecting from being on a moon descendant line. And that drove me to look for more resources and really understand. And that's when I found my astrocartography teacher, Helena Woods, online and began learning with her. And it blew my mind because there's so much more to astrocartography than just looking at the planetary lines. That gives really good example of what you can experience. But what I learned is I was living on this latitude line that is one of the hardest ones to live on. I was living on a Mars Chiron Paran line, which is a latitude line. Yes. If you know Mars and Chiron energy together, you know that is an ouch. And that's where I was living. And unfortunately, no matter where I went in Bali, I was always within orb of that latitude line. I could not escape it. And I had so many Mars Chiron themes come up. And I learned later as well through Ms. Helena Woods' course that you can pull up a relocation chart. And it's kind of like your birth chart if you were born in that location, and it tells you that story. And I look there and my Chiron, my Mars, and my South Node were all moved from the 8th house to the 11th house. And it deeply reflected my experience in Bali, where everyone who I connected with and made friends with, whether it was in person there or while I was online there, all of them ended in a Mars Chiron kind of way where it was explosive, it was deeply painful. And I never would have known that if I didn't take that course. I went in assuming, oh, it's a moon descendant line. I'm going to meet aligned, beautiful, amazing people. I'm going to feel at home. And it was the complete opposite. And it just goes to show that there's much more to astrocartography than just looking at what planetary line is there.
Well, so for folks who are new to this specific technique, how would you define this or how would you explain this to somebody who didn't know what it was?
So astrocartography was discovered by two astrologers in the 1950s. And when they were doing astrocartography at that time, it was pulling up relocation charts and casting it like you were born in that location. And what they're trying to see is what angles are being activated. Because for those who are new to astrology, angles are so important in our chart. And that's why with astrocartography, this is one of the astrology techniques where you absolutely must have the most accurate birth time, because if it's off, even by like a little bit, it can significantly change where the angles are in the chart. And what we know now as astrocartography, that was popularized under Jim Lewis in the 1970s, and he essentially created the software. So we don't have to just pull up the charts and kind of guesstimate what it would be like. We can actually see it on a map. So when you pull up an astrocartography map, it's really cool because it takes your birth details and it will cast where the different lines are going to be if you were born in different locations. So you can see what stories and what kind of energy plays out in different locations. It's a really cool way to figure out where to relocate, to travel, where to go for healing retreats. You can use it for ancestral healing, like I'm going to be talking about in the workshop. It has so many amazing ways that you can use it and apply it to your daily life.
I'm so excited for this. Thank you so much for putting this together. So if this opportunity speaks to you, I will put a link to join this class in the show notes. If you are a member of the Cosmic Awakening Circle, you're automatically going to get a Google Calendar invite. You are invited to all of the guest teacher workshops that we have every month. You also get access to the recording. If you are not in the membership, you are absolutely welcome to join us. It's just going to be a live experience. If you don't make it, or if you don't make it on time, you're not going to get that content unless you join the Cosmic Awakening Circle. So if you'd like to join, you're not part of the membership. It's just $30. I think that's a really affordable price for beautiful experience that Yvonne has created for us. And all of our guest teachers are so talented and just very inspiring. And we have teachers who specialize in all different types of healing modalities. And I'm just extra excited this month because Yvonne is an astrologer, just like me. So yeah, this is going to be great. What should people bring to this?
So I'm going to prepare ahead of time a little workbook that will go out to everyone in the community. And this is going to include how to input your birth details in astro.com. That is the free software that I highly recommend that folks use. It's the best that's out there that's available for free. So that will include details on how to create a profile on there, how to input your birth details, and how to pull up your astrocartography maps. So that way you have that all set, and you could even start going around and playing and looking and seeing what's there on your map.
Amazing. I'm so excited for this. This is going to be super juicy because I have not really worked with astrocartography at all, but you're combining this with ancestral healing. I mean, this is just music to my ears. So thank you. Thank you again for putting this together. So,
You're so welcome.
oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so thrilled. So again, if you would like to join us, the link will be in the show notes. I will also put all of Yvonne's links in the show notes as well. How do you feel about talking some astrology now?
Yeah, absolutely. Always
Okay.
down for the astrology chats.
Perfect. So just curious, what house system do you use mainly?
I use whole signs. I'm a more traditional astrologer. I follow a lot of Hellenistic old school techniques, and a lot of them use whole signs. So that's my method. What about you?
Perfect. I'm Placidus. And when I pulled your chart, I did it with Placidus. So let's review your sun, moon, and rising. So you're
Yeah.
a Sag rising, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
You are a Pisces moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then are you Taurus sun? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm remembering correctly. I was trying to test myself because I actually have your chart in front of me, but I was like, can I remember? Okay. So you know that last year I felt the call to expand my notion of ancestors to include our star ancestors in addition to our blood ancestors. And so I got certified in quantum soul guidance, galactic astrology. And I really feel just in general, collectively, we are opening up more to the true history of Earth, the true history of humanity, our galactic heritage. We're learning more and more about, yes, our neighbors and how long they've been here, right? There's just more disclosures happening each and every day. So the purpose of knowing your galactic placements, I think it's important to say, is not to feel special. It's not to feel superior to anybody. It's to work with these energies to support whatever you're already doing, right? And it's meant to help you open more to your multidimensional self, your multidimensionality. And so what galactic astrology does is that it adds an outer layer of fixed stars, black holes, nebulas, super cosmic points to the traditional tropical Western astrology chart. So we're looking at not only past lives on Earth, but we're looking at past lives that are off planet. We're looking at your soul's journey over eons of time. So, with that being said, I want to give you your mini galactic reading. Are you ready, my dear?
I'm so excited. I always felt like I was a very old soul, so I'm ready to hear what's going on with my chart.
Cool. Yay. Okay. So, when I looked at your galactic placements, what immediately stood out was this theme of cosmic wisdom becoming embodied leadership. So your chart feels like someone who came into this lifetime with one foot in the stars and one foot firmly planted on the earth. And it was about learning how to bridge higher consciousness with practical transformation. That's just kind of like the general theme. And so one of the most striking placements that jumped out at me is your ascendant conjunct the galactic center. So your rising sign or your ascendant, as you know, it represents how you move through the world. It's the lens that you see everything through. It's your energetic presence, right? People pick up on this when they first meet you. And The galactic center is the center of our Milky Way galaxy. It is often described as a cosmic transmission point. It's a source of expanded awareness, truth, and higher perspective. And so people with the galactic center conjunct their rising sign often have this undeniable presence. Others may sense that there's something different about them, even if they can't quite explain it. So I think you naturally invite people to think bigger and to see beyond limitations and question old paradigms. And I think your life itself becomes a journey of learning how to trust your own inner knowing and embody the wisdom that wants to move through you. So in many ways, you don't just simply seek truth, you become a living expression of it. And then another very beautiful placement is your IC or your Imam Kweli conjunct the star Tau Ceti. And the IC, as you know, represents your roots, your inner foundation, your ancestral and soul level home. And Tau Ceti is often associated with innovation, advanced thinking, systems awareness, and the ability to envision new possibilities. And so this tells me that deep within your soul is a natural innovator. Even if others only see the spiritual side of your work, there is also a brilliant systems thinker underneath. You probably instinctively understand how things connect and how old structures can be improved, healed, or reimagined. So your inner world is wired for possibility. And then your descendant, we were just talking about that, is conjunct the star Saiph, it's Saiph in the Orion constellation. And I absolutely love this placement because these Orion stars often carry themes of resilience, resourcefulness, mastery through challenge, and the ability to navigate polarity. And because this sits on your descendant, which is, as you know, your relationship axis, many of your greatest soul lessons and growth opportunities come through other people. And you may have attracted partners, collaborators, or even clients who challenge you to step into greater strength, clarity, and leadership. And so relationships are really your training ground for mastery. And this placement also suggests to me that part of your purpose is helping others navigate complexity and emerge stronger, wiser, and more empowered. I'm scratching the surface. These are just the things that jumped out at me. One of the most fascinating signatures in your chart is both your Uranus and your Neptune are conjunct the star Lyra Vega. And this is in your first house, the self, your body, right? Vega is one of the stars most often associated with spiritual wisdom, creativity, and higher knowledge, and the integration of science and spirituality. So Uranus brings innovation and awakening and breakthrough thinking. And then Neptune brings intuition and mysticism, imagination, and connection to the unseen. So having all of this anchored in the first house means that these frequencies aren't something that you just study. They are absolutely woven into your identity, and you serve naturally as a bridge between worlds, the practical and the mystical, the visionary and the embodied, the ancient and the emerging. And what I have found in my studies is that people with strong Vega signatures, I have this as well, often feel called to share wisdom that helps others reconnect body, mind, soul, and spirit. And so when I put all of these placements together, my friend, I see someone whose soul journey is about becoming a translator of higher consciousness. You have the galactic center on your ascendant. Vega is woven into your identity, and you have Tau Ceti, the innovation star, at your roots, and then you have Orion guiding your relationships. And so I feel like your chart suggests that you're here to help people expand their perspective, to trust their intuition, and remember that they are far more powerful than they were taught to believe. And you carry the energy of a guide who doesn't just inspire transformation. You help people envision entirely new possibilities for who they can become. And perhaps the greatest gift of your chart is this: you remind people that wisdom doesn't have to stay in the stars. It can be embodied, lived, and expressed right here on Earth. So, how is this landing? I know that's a lot. How are you feeling?
So much of it absolutely resonates. I knew about my ascendant being conjunct the Galactic center. I've been told that, but I never fully understood what it meant. But hearing that, it made so much sense. And especially the piece too, when you were speaking towards the IC and then the Neptune-Uranus conjunction to Vega, once I started to really commit to doing business astrology, because I always wanted to, but I had this self-doubt of, who am I to do that? I'm not like super advanced in business. I don't have that, I've been in business for like 10 years. Of course I can help you. I didn't have that kind of backstory. So I really eased off on it. But honestly, that's been one of my biggest gifts, helping people put structures together, figure out their strengths, empowering folks so they can actually go for it. Because I've met so many people who have amazing ideas for business, and even people who are interested in astrology, and I feel that they could be really amazing, but they're so scared to go for it. And I'm always like, no, you gotta go, you gotta try. You can absolutely do it. The only thing holding you back is your mind. And that's why I also got very deeply involved in learning EFT tapping, because that was something that helped me bust through my limiting beliefs that were holding me back from really doing what I wanted. And I think the one that stuck out the most, though, was the relationship one, because I always tell people, I'm like, I've been single since birth. Like, I am 35 and I've been single since birth. But boy, howdy, when I tell you about the friendships and the relationships with other people through collaborations or just interacting with folks, I have been through the ringer and grown and learned so much from that around what my boundaries are, what I'm willing to tolerate, what I'm not willing to tolerate, how to speak up for myself, because I used to be an absolute doormat. I was the absolute doormat in all my relationships, and I've really had to learn the hard way how to stand up and be able to speak up for myself.
Wow. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably and powerfully with us. I appreciate it so much. Well, I can't let you go without talking about this astrocartography controversy. So as a teacher, as a guide, right, as an astrologer who uses this technique, can you share with us some perspective on this whole thing and maybe explain to people what we're talking about?
So I said this a little bit earlier, but originally astrocartography was called astrogeography when it was first created. And it wasn't until the 1970s when Jim Lewis created a software to help us see everything with the maps that the word astrocartography was actually trademarked. But it was trademarked as astro, asterisk, cart, asterisk, graphy. That's how it was trademarked. And Jim Lewis had that trademark. It expired in 2011, I believe, and then it was open for everyone to use it. But I don't think they were putting any pressure on people to use astrocartography without the asterisks. I think it was only the asterisks that was trademarked at that time. So it was free use post 2011. And unfortunately, there have been 3 trademarks that have been put in place. One in France that was actually passed, where someone now does own that trademark of astrocartography. The same person is trademarking it in EU. That is pending. And there is a company in the United States that is a completely separate entity from the person in France and Europe, who is also applied back in December. And that one is also pending, just like the EU one.
Gosh, I don't like this.
I don't either.
Like, this is just not good for the community at all. I think you're screwing your fellow astrologers. Yeah, it just doesn't seem very community oriented. It seems very selfish. It seems very self-centered and
Absolutely. I feel
short-sighted.
yeah. I feel astrocartography is for everyone. And I think one of the beautiful things that has come out from this situation is that the astrology community is coming together. And there are associations that are having petitions put out, collecting signatures so folks can battle the pending trademarks. People are coming together and gathering evidence to showcase that this has long existed before these folks placed trademarks in place. So I do think it has brought the community together, especially those who are under the belief that astrology is for everyone, including astrocartography. So I think that is something that is beautiful because I've seen so many people step up and share the petitions online, speak out about the situation, and bring a voice to it. I really appreciate that folks are not just sitting back and allowing it to happen.
Me too. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. I was so curious, what you were thinking about all of it and what you were feeling. And it sounds like we are on the same page about all of this. Well, so if folks want to work with you, if they want to learn more about you, where should they go to find out more?
So I am on Instagram at Yvonne Irene Astrology. That's the best place to find me. If you're interested in booking a birth chart reading with me, I offer very different astrology offerings. I offer astrocartography readings for folks. So anyone who wants to learn more about their ancestral roots, we can explore that in that reading, or relocation. If you just want to understand the story of place, I've learned so much from just exploring the locations that I've traveled to and really understanding the stories of that place. I also do business astrology readings. So for anyone who really wants that kind of support and help to create a business that's aligned from your soul, using your blueprint, highlighting your gifts, and just figuring out, what are the blocks that are holding you back? That is my favorite thing to do. I have a strong Pluto signature in my chart. So I love going into the subconscious and really getting to the root of what a block is. And I'm also offering as well zodiacal releasing and transit readings. Those are my favorite. So that's for anyone who wants to figure out what's going on in the storybook of my life. What part of the story am I in? Also understanding how the transits, how the planets that are currently in the sky are impacting your birth chart. It is the best way to understand because I also do little posts on IG, about this is what Chiron and Taurus means because that's happening next week after this episode's recorded. But again, it's going to hit so much differently for someone who has a fixed sign at the early degrees of Taurus. That's going to impact you a lot more. And maybe someone who has no Taurus and no fixed energy in their chart, they're just going to be like, oh, this is fine and dandy. So it's a really great way to understand how the planetary energies are personally impacting you.
Love it. My Chiron is at 3 degrees Taurus, so this is going to be interesting for me, though I don't think it's going to hit 3 degrees this year. I think that will be next year.
Yeah, I think it's going to retrograde back into Aries one final time, and then it'll do its whole shebangle in Taurus next year.
Knock on wood. It's going to be okay.
I'm in the Chiron and Cancer crew, so I still got a while.
Yeah, you still have a little bit. Well, so I was just looking on my calendar. Your workshop is going to be on August 4th. This is a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So that's 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, if you are interested in participating in this amazing workshop, this amazing experience that Yvonne has put together, I will put the link in the show notes. You can always join the Cosmic Awakening Circle and you automatically get an invite. You automatically get access to our growing resource library. You also get a reading from me once a year, by the way. So definitely check that out. Go to The Cycle Architect on Substack. That's my Substack account. Sis, I have one last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same question that I asked you the last time you were on the show. But I'm finding as I interview people for a second time, about a year later, the answer changes. So what are the new cycles that you are starting in your lineages?
Oh, goodness. I feel the one that's been coming through the most is from exploring what's going on in my astrocartography line in Honduras, where my father's from. I have a Pluto midheaven line that runs right through where he was born. And it's been a lot of standing in my personal power and owning my gifts, owning my authenticity and putting it out there and no longer hiding. That's the cycle that's being broken right now.
I love it. All right. Well, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being on the show again. And thank you for putting together this fantastic workshop experience. I know it is going to be very juicy, very inspiring. I can't wait to look at my own lines. Like, I'm really, really excited for this. So again, if you guys want to join Yvonne's workshop, it's August 4th. That's a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. A link will be in the show notes. Sis, thank you so much. Always a joy to spend time with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved getting to hear all about the galactic astrology and just always fun to chat with another astrologer.
Yes. We're going to keep chatting. We're going to keep collaborating. I have no doubt. All right, everyone. We will see you next time on the Cycle Starters podcast. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.